Hi, Scorpio. We have a visitor today. He just is been all over me lately. Can't tell if he's just becoming more loving or if he just wants more food. But he's gonna be hanging out today. If he becomes a problem, I'll move him over. Happy full moon. It's your full moon, and I wanted to do this. It landed perfectly. We're doing your reading under this full moon. It'll be out by tonight too, the night of the full moon, or today. Maybe you're watching this under the moon. Yes, you may be. And the second part will most likely be during that nighttime. All information to work with me one-on-one is below, as well as the Patreon episode. He's now found a spot, so he will be laying with us. Patreon Patreon video will be the second part, which gives you a look into what personal readings are for your general reading. And a lot has changed, and I'm sure you feel it and understand in your way. So I'll be doing an updated podcast soon as well, so be on the lookout for that. And yeah, let's get into your reading. So wondering, okay, so for some of you, you feel like you may be working hard, or you've worked hard in this area, but you feel like maybe you might not be progressing monetarily, or you still feel stuck in some kind of way. I'm not gonna worry about it. And this is something you've been working through emotionally, whether you realize it or not, because you know how powerful you are, you know your capabilities of making money or making change or any of these ways. Before this gets crazy, I'm sorry, I gotta put my shit on silent, because yes, I don't want it to interrupt us. Okay. So, yeah. So here, you maybe have exhausted all the ways in which your thinking brain is trying to come up with ideas, when really most of the time, and you could read this in a lot of books, especially with the spiritual connection, the idea, the thing, whatever it is that you want to commit yourself to, in your version of growth, Scorpio rising, your version of this identity shift, right? You just went through eclipses. You have multiple planets, including the sun, sitting across from you at this time. And you may be wondering, this is illuminating, or this is hiding and or illuminating at the same time, because when something's hidden, something becomes seen, where it is that you haven't allowed connection to happen, right? When you're thinking so much and in one version of this space, the intuition gets lost. So then you find yourself deep cleaning your house. And you're like, wait, this actually feels great. I did that the other day. And I'm already very clean, so it just feels, and move things around feels better. Why I'm saying this is, like, maybe you get caught yourself in cleaning or doing a physical project, mental physical project, whether it's for yourself or just because it's something you haven't tackled in a while. You may find some clarity there. You may find that the idea comes through, or an old idea, Mercury retrograde, Aries in your 6th house of work for Scorpio risings, and we'll definitely get more into that into the second part. But it may be changing up how you live your day-to-day, because the 6th house is work, but it's also, and this maybe had just been a contemplation anyway, of like how you actually want to go about your day-to-day life. Like, what is the goal? Is there a goal there? Why haven't you allowed yourself to think about it? Maybe your idea of growth and change, especially in terms of monetary value, you have maybe capped yourself or only thought in the traditional way. I'm just going to move something. Normally in a reading, I wouldn't just move the flowers because it looks better over there. I would have checked it before. But giving yourself the flexibility, and I didn't even try to bring this here, it just came to my mind, giving yourself that kind of flexibility is really important right now. The moon is shining in and showing up and saying to you, through energy, through your life in some way, the way that it's influencing your life is saying there is a lot being built here. Through discovering the answers to these questions, at least right now, Scorpio. This is where I see the fixed signs and Aquarius coming into Pluto coming into Aquarius, and then Aquarius coming into any part of your chart, any part of your life, and really breaking down, like, this doesn't have to be so rigid. You can have this and still be open. You can have this and it doesn't have to be this glass ceiling or this brick wall. It doesn't. Things can move within that moment now. And you feel it because we're in a fixed sign, but there's so much intuition, and Tauruses are learning something so deeply about themselves right now, having a lot sit in their subconscious, or mastering certain areas of their life, or entering mastery, like that you could enter a phase where you're like, okay, I've learned so much, and how am I putting this in my life? Where is this not actually aligning? For lack of better words, like, where is this actually not showing up? And what maybe within the darkness, the shadow, especially within your worth, is illuminating to you is that maybe someone put it there. And maybe you put it there because you like being able to reach it. But now that you've reached it, it's just like any old age of saying, like, you got what you wanted and you're on to the next thing. Like, you don't even care if you have it anymore. Right? Sorry, my mouth is dry. You don't even care. You ever felt that way? You reach something and then you don't care. This time is different because when you realize that breaking through that glass ceiling means that the power really resides in you. And we talked about that last month. But I'm coming into these readings with a fresher understanding of myself, to be completely honest with you. So it's definitely changing, and I'm even nervous because it's not looking, these are going to look different, they're going to sound different, there will be changes, and I'm excited for it. However, it doesn't stop me from doing it. The fear or the nervousness, because it's almost like I'm just beginning again, and it used to take me so much time because of the lack of confidence. Just get personal with you. Scorpio in my 7th house. Is that the way you see yourself will always, and you know this, but I'm just reminding you, especially in this moment, because it may feel like a big reminder, and you may get a huge aha moment where you are so powerful, and sometimes, just like any human, I think normal human, you can fear that power. You can fear that intuition that's telling you to do something because you know something's going to come from it. You can know those things and then stop yourself. And then think that it's just going to pass you by. It's not. It's still going to ask you to grow. It's just going to find another way to get to you, another timing, another moment in time, if this is the timing. So you're being shown where it is that these even deeper of like, this is the way I live, however, it doesn't work with how I see my future. And then what will flexibility do for me? The ability to be free. If you're looking for financial freedom, that opportunity is here. You may not become financially free within like the next day or month, but because that's like, if this is the next step in my life and that's what keeps showing up for you, then life will continuously give you those opportunities, and that may be attainable with X amount of time. It could be this year. Or you can get so close this year that you know it's real. Because everyone changes due to their nervous system and what you're able to handle, and clearing out something that's you've maybe been thinking about and going over and running back and forth about for 5 years. Some of you only 5 months because it's finally time, right? But for some of you, you've been very privy to this moment, and you know that the 5 adds up to the 10. You know where you could go, but for some reason it's adding so much weight and disdain. So you need to make a change. You need to have more flexibility. If that means believing in yourself more, taking the opportunity to look at any shadow, anything that's disgruntling, anything that feels way too comfortable. It may be relating to what's keeping you, or what has kept you, or maybe it's just the perfect time. Maybe you feel safer now to feel this. That your way of dealing with what comes up is changing, and even that, like I was just saying, could be what's held you back. You're like, oh my God, I don't deal with things the same. Like, can I handle this? Or, yeah, of course you can. You may be in deep thought or reflection about something too. And this affects your body. You may feel lighter after you make said decisions. And also for some of you, this is just about an opportunity being brought to you, and therefore it's like demanding you to shift. So this stuff comes up, and if you ever thought you can just jump, you can't. You're always going to have to go through, unless like you're on drugs or getting fucked up and you're not going to remember every day. Just saying, when you grow, you're going to move through it. And everyone thinks that like time has sped up, and maybe it has, but sometimes that could feel that way because you're so in the moment. And this is not for everyone, that you're so in the moment and you're with your life right now that you feel like the time clock ticking. They say it is moving, the earth is moving faster too. It's probably because we're all connected, I don't know if that's the truth, but what's coming to my mind is like, maybe it's this total connection, and because of that, there is almost like it's like how you make a whirlpool in the pool. There's momentum. Maybe it was always going to be that way. Maybe it's the prediction. Maybe it's both. I have to write something down. What you begin to recognize is the total technology that you are too. Not to make you inhuman. Maybe that's just what it is, that being human is that. And you feel almost this washing over you of like, I know that I don't have to continue to be this way. I know that I can take what I've learned from a father figure, from your ego and how it's gotten you this far, from your values that you've learned and how they've evolved from this place, and where you can take it further. That what you see and what you may begin to recognize within yourself is how much courage and how vulnerable it is to make these shifts at this time. Because then the transparency and the seeing is real. That maybe you were unhappy, or you weren't living to what you know you can be. And it's okay that things lay dormant, and it's okay to find rest and ease, and maybe this is just an ease that falls over your mind. Coming full circle to who you are, and remembering that you do create so deeply these paths within yourself, which is why you're like, for some of you, you're like, but I've worked so hard on this. Why would I go in another direction? Why would I go somewhere else? Maybe that's the point. Maybe there are endings in certain areas that are just preparing you for another. That you're able to digest the decisions that you're making, feeling whole, feeling extremely connected to your body and in tune, if that's not reward enough. It's being seen for all that you've done, for all that you've worked for, and who's seeing you first and foremost is you and that person who has a hard time hearing you sometimes. Maybe you're creating space for that moment to be had, especially in relationship to yourself. That we all need a healthy ego, and to remind ourselves that we're amazing, that you're amazing, that you're already accomplished, your accomplishments are a gift, but you're creating from those spaces as well. That the ego or the persona or the person that you're becoming at this time is not just how you've worked to get here, how you've played the game to get here. It's about the deep insight that you have coming full circle. It's about digesting the fact that there is more for you out there, and you want to go find it. You want to take a look. You want to take a peek. You want to take a jump. And things aren't going to look super traditional. Things aren't going to look the way maybe you didn't realize you always had in the back of your head. Maybe you were okay with that, very Sagittarius. It's their funny way of like, maybe you haven't really followed the rules, but at the same time you followed the rules right under the umbrella. And now you're like, okay, what is all this? If you have Sagittarius placements as well, or if that's the person that you are realizing that through this way they've created their own freedom and that does not work for you any longer. That the redirection is coming full circle in your life because you're ready to take action. You've been methodical. But now the universe, now life, now the planets, whatever, is giving you a push. You're now being like, okay, you are and have made the decision to allow us to help you make the decision. And now we go on to our next adventure. And you feel maybe smarter, more adaptable. Maybe the adaptability makes you feel smarter, because we have cardinal and mutable signs in here, very much so. And it could be a relationship even with a Pisces that's shown you that you are sometimes like seeing how other people are living and realizing the freedoms that you have are more in your hands, where other people's aren't as such, whether it's emotionally or financially or both, physically, all of it. There's a releasing too of some sort. You may have like a literal physical release about what you've learned, about what's been a pattern, a way of life, what's been interconnected through your work, your value, your relationships, all your relationships with everything, how that's been dictated and centered around something that came from protection. And now you get the chance to, you feel safe enough within yourself because you realize that this is where you keep getting stuck. You're not allowing yourself to maybe picture something different, because maybe that sets something off of like I told Taurus, keep visualizing the future, the goals. Even if you don't have it right now, notice how that makes you feel. Does it feel scary, impossible? Notice what your body is sensing. More than ever, you need to trust your body. You need to be able to trust yourself, which means making the right decisions for yourself. What is right? What is right for you? What brings you to greater relaxation? What's that thought? Like, what if I do this? Well, what if you do it? What's the worst that could happen? If you're not gonna die, you're gonna be okay. You know that. You've already experienced so much within, and now as when Mercury goes direct by the 25th, and through Mars moving into Aries as well, Taurus moving into Venus, you may say or be more, what's the word? You may feel more influenced even to say, or just naturally say, this Mars being in another home sign, things that you maybe a few months ago would find regretful, but it's like you've come into your own in a whole new way. That you not only know the power that you have over someone, it's like a teenager knowing the power that they have over someone. And now you're growing up and you need to figure out like how that is useful for you. And it's not in a way where I'm telling you to be manipulative. It's in a way in which you are allowing the natural fluidity and sexuality of yourself to draw in exactly what you need right now. And if what you're recognizing hasn't sat well with you before, now what you realize is not only settling with you, it's digesting, and you've given your mind and your body so much space to explore what's to come and to be a part of it and to act from a space of love, maybe, of care. And sometimes that becomes very passionate and amazing. And I hope that you sit under your full moon tonight and allow it to wash over you and this feeling of security. And that freedom really means security, and what that looks like for you. And I think you take that you in that very individual sense with a lot more weight now. Something clicks. But let's get into the second part. All information is below, and I love you, and we'll see you soon.